Have you ever recognized yourself in a friend or family's post on Reddit? What were the things you found out and how did you react? Story 1. Kind of reverse. My ex-boyfriend accused me of posting about him on Reddit. Said he found the username in a post in relationships with the keyword gaslighting and absolutely knew it was me. Would email me cryptic messages with username hints that I didn't understand and hints that he had found my post about him and that I should follow Reddit's advice about him. I was puzzled as frick. I didn't post about him, though I should have. Makes me wonder if he's still scouring Reddit for proof that his now ex-girlfriend is writing about him. Hi Jeff. Story 2. I grew up in a small town with a girl who had many famous of varying degrees relatives and bullied me in middle school. Her sister, on the other hand, was always nice to me, but she was not in my class. Anyway, her dad, the least famous, was singing children's songs at our local fair and I went with 2 friends as one had a kid and we exposed them to the soundtrack of our childhood. But between songs, he looked up and saw me. He then sang a song I'd never heard before. We had all his kid tapes growing up, and it was clearly about me. It was about one of the worst days when she'd made me cry after the bus had dropped us off before our parents arrived. Mine were late, and I learned, through his song, now he'd learned how cruel she'd been and how he'd lectured her. It was simultaneously the most surreal and awkward moment of my life. Both friends clearly knew it was about me. He didn't really change my name, just left off a syllable and offered sympathetic pats, which was the last thing I wanted right then. Curious, I looked extensively over all the songs he'd recorded, and it never had been. At least, it was not published, nor weren't the lyrics or anything like it in any of his songs. It was so weird. It was nice on one hand, so be apologized to in a song by your bullies. Dad, what made me search his library ... Had he written the song 10 years ago, fresh from the incident, and saved it all these years to play it at the right time? Or had he seen me and made it up while he sang old songs he could play without thinking? I had never thought about publishing rights. Story 3. Other way around. In high school I had a really cool friend. We played video games together and generally talked about cool stuff, and I was a lot more popular than him, but I included him in my groups and he actually ended up become very well liked around the school. We were hanging out one day during a spare period in school and he had to go to the bathroom. He left his phone and Reddit open and my curiosity got the best of me, so I looked at his username. I didn't say anything and just acted normal. The thing is that his family is super Mormon. Like Die Hard, send you on a mission out of high school, get married before 21 kind of Mormon. I always saw him as a very intelligent free thinker, so the day he told me he was Mormon I was surprised. I was always suspicious, though. He didn't seem like my other Mormon friends and he never liked to talk about it. I may have been a bad friend for this, but I looked at his profile. His post history seemed pretty normal, just a random Ask Reddit thread once in a while, and posts in video game subs, but deeper down I found he was an active poster in r/Mormon. I read some of them and found out he wasn't really Mormon but was just keeping the act up till he can move out and go to college in a different city. It was really surprising to me and I felt really bad for him. I never brought this up to anyone or to him, so nobody knows. It wasn't my secret to tell, but it has been several years, so I figure it's okay to write this. What's even more sad is he is actually on his mission right now, on the other side of the world, spreading the word of a religion he doesn't believe in. I miss him quite a lot and I wish the best for him. Story 4. This will probably get 6 feet deep, but oh well. Anyways, it isn't a Reddit thing, but this post reminded me of that one drunk night 7 or 8 years ago where me and a very good friend of mine talked about COD and other FPS games. We were mainly talking about nukes and MOABs and just how much fun the game is. After a few hours of video game talks between our group of friends, at one point we mutually kinda agreed that we need to play together, since we were both on PlayStation and didn't know that we were both really into games. So I asked the guy what is his account name, and at that moment I realized that we have been playing together every day for the past 3 or 4 years, give or take, getting those nukes and MOABs that we talked about for the whole night and didn't even know that we knew each other IRL for even longer than that. Like, if this is really anticlimactic, but that right there is one of the most wholesomest things that ever happened in my life. We had an even bigger smile from ear to ear on our face for the rest of that night. P.S. We are still playing together till this day and remain very good friends. Story 5. Not Reddit, but when I was in middle school I was 14. I found out my best friend had a secret Instagram account. Keep in mind she was the closest friend I have ever had, and it felt like my first real friendship. Anyways, she found out I knew about it and insisted I didn't look at it. It felt strange, but I obliged. For a while, one day, out of pure curiosity, I looked it up. Turned out she blocked me so I couldn't see the contents. Luckily or not, I had a second account for private stuff that was more or less incognito. Looked through some posts. It was a personal blog, fan account kind of profile, so the captions to the photos were long and storytime-like, and just as I was about to leave the profile, I saw her mention me. That friend I told y'all about. She mentioned me somewhere. I was positive it was a good kind of mention. I was very wrong. Turned out she was talking crap about me, saying I was a B. Two-faced, fake, annoying, terrible, and that she hated me. We sat together on the bus to school every day, sat next to each other in most classes. For the last 1.5 years, I was devastated, cried for the rest of the day, went to school the next day and had to sit next to her on the bus while trying to hide my tears the entire way to school. Went home after 2 classes because I couldn't handle the shame and sadness. Felt betrayed and couldn't pretend like nothing was wrong. I never told her I found out. We continue to be friends and I think she changed her mind eventually, as I just came back from her 18th today. Though it still hurts to think about, since I've always had fake friends surrounding me, and I genuinely believed she was my best friend. TLDR, my closest best friend in middle school had a secret Instagram account where she talked crap about me and I had no idea she hated me. Never told her and we are friends to this day. Edit, a bit more detail. Story 6. My sister's a psychotherapist. My conversations with her have helped me make sense of a lot of painful, upsetting stuff. She said something to me once that you might find helpful. She said that kids in middle school are at a stage of development where they've figured out how to be mean but not why they shouldn't. They've developed enough emotional and social sophistication that they've become aware of social hierarchies, other people's feelings and sensitivities, and what other people think of them. But their capacity for empathy and ethical reasoning, edit, and emotional maturity are still very limited. When you're at that stage of development and you badmouth or lie about someone, your peers pay attention to you and seem to care about what you're saying. They gape, laugh, and believe you. You feel respected and powerful, and that makes you feel good. Edit, this is particularly satisfying if the person you're attacking is someone you're jealous of, someone who has something you want but can't have, someone you feel is better than you, in some way that you feel you can't control. My sister says it's a lot worse for girls, that there's much more jealousy and a much harsher pecking order of coolness, authority. She also pointed out that this is the age where girls are starting to become interested in boys and aware of and insecure about their bodies, which makes things much, much worse and much uglier. Edit, someone else suggested that it's jealousy. I think there's a very good possibility that that's what it was. It might not be worth talking to your friend about it now, but if you're still hurt, I think it might be worth asking her about it, not in an accusatory way, as if to make her answer for her crimes or something, but rather so that you can let go of some of the pain and confusion you seem to be carrying around. Say you found the Instagram account and that it confused and hurt you, and you've been wondering for a while what was going on. She may not reply in a constructive way. She may become hostile and defensive. It may even end the friendship, but I think it's worth considering. It sounds like you still value your friendship with her enough that history bothers you. If she values you as a friend, too, I doubt she'd want you to have to continue to carry around that pain. It's even possible that she's been thinking about it too, and feels bad about it, but feels like she can't bring it up. Having a conversation about it might liberate both of you. Story 7. A friend of mine did something similar back when LiveJournal was still big. She'd make a new account every so often, and it was always the same as whatever her new AIM screen name was where she did friend me. Once after she made a new IM account, I noticed she wasn't updating her LJ anymore. I did a quick search with her new screen name and found a public LJ. In it she was talking about how she had no friends in real life. All of her real friends were people online, and how horrible I specifically was. I don't remember most of it, but I remember part of it was her saying that I never listened to her when she needed to talk, which was absolute bullcrap. We were both depressed for various reasons, and I listened to her all the time. That is, until I tried talking to her once on AIM about my issues, which I never did due to shame surrounding my childhood, and every single thing I said she simply replied with, "Oh." Straw that broke the camel's back, and I just stopped caring about her. After finding other posts insulting me, we're kind of okay now. Middle and high school friendships kind of suck. I think that hormonal changes, being expected to mature at a quick rate, and mental illness mixed in, can really make young people selfish, not necessarily in a bad way all of the time either. That doesn't justify what your friend did to you, and I hope that things are legitimately okay between you. But she may have been caught up in her own head through whatever crap she was saying about you. Story 8. It was someone I knew in high school. They accused me of stalkerish behavior and conflated things I did when interested in other people to paint themselves as the center of my ongoing affection, when in reality I thought they were cute for like 2 weeks and then moved on. The post got a lot of attention though, and it was the detail, the subcomments, that made me finally realize the post could only be about me, and all portrayed in a way that made me seem unhinged. I have never confronted the poster about it, because it really doesn't affect me, but if your life is so shallow that you had to tell a story on Reddit that was 80% factually untrue to make yourself feel special, then I hope the 10,000 fake internet points were worth it. Hello, the editor here. That last story was too cool. Like and subscribe for more. Story 9. I've posted this before, but it's definitely relevant. My ex-boyfriend posted this long mess of a post to our dead bedrooms that essentially outlined our relationship from the start, and then proceeded to blame me and my mild bipolar disorder for why we weren't doing it. He made it out to seem like he was a victim being physically neglected by his mentally ill girlfriend, and that I used him for financial aid even though we split the cost of living evenly. A few posters over there were quick to tell him that our relationship was over, that I was a walking red flag, and to cut your losses because this is crazy written all over it. The reality of the situation was that I had moved halfway across the country to be with him. After a few months away from all of my family and friends, his idea, not trying to blame him for going along with it. It's an abnormal and spontaneous way of doing things, but I knew that I would have to accept responsibility for agreeing no matter the outcome. I was working 4 jobs to make ends meet and attending classes. I had no friends or social life outside of work, school. He didn't take me out and made no efforts to make me feel at home once I moved in. All he did was play video games. I never got to really experience the city I moved to until after I left him. He was wildly controlling when I did get invited out. He would yell at me when I came home too late or went out without him, would go through my phone, social media, etc. Story 10. I used to be 300 pounds. I gained about 100 pounds from an out-of-whack and undiagnosed thyroid condition. I finally got treated, and I am slowly but surely losing, and I'm down to 240. But when I was 300 pounds, I took my daughter to the beach on a lake in my little bitty small town. A teenage girl took a picture of me with the caption "beached whale" and put it out on Facebook. I had people that I had known my entire life comment on how fat I was and that I should just kill myself to rid the world of my fatness. These were people who I considered my good friends. I found it and posted that this was a picture of me with my daughter. The attacks got worse, and I had people that have sat at my dinner table send me threatening and horrific PMs that I had to report to the police, all because I was fat and having a day at the beach with my kid.